is your business keeping costs under control? It's been a big ask this year with inflation, interest rate hikes and rising wages. But there are practical ways to operate more efficiently. To tell us more, I'm joined by Naomi Mitchell, the National Managing Partner Enterprise at KPMG Australia. Naomi, good to see you. Now, give us the 3 top priorities that you have in our cost optimisation checklist for businesses at the moment.
The first one is to define the process that needs to be optimised. The second is to really measure and identify what process we're going to do to optimise it. And the third, of course, is to really analyse and improve that process.
Okay, let's bring it back to real life. Give us some scenarios that businesses can adopt for each of those 3 points.
So for example, in procurement, businesses should really be looking at their supplier data for where they can be more competitive or get that advantage. If we take it into the finance division of a business, what we're seeing there is a lot of innovation coming in, which is allowing people to move on to value-added services for the business. If you look at day-to-day operations, it's really about analysing the product, the segment, the market that we're in, and cutting those non-profitable ones. You can also look really into the cost of debt. Are you actively looking at what you're paying for your interest rates and things like that? With regards to labour and workforce, the costs are increasing. So they've got to be analysing that mix of part-time, full-time and really looking at their rostering or their scheduling with an eagle eye. And last of all, my favourite is the tax implications. So making sure you're having a look at maximising deductions and grants and things like that that are available to the businesses.
Gee, they're good tips for us. So polish the crystal ball into 2024. What are some of the areas that business should be focusing on?
So firstly, we're not going back to normal. We're in a post-COVID era and businesses are currently grappling with high inflation and interest rates. So we've got to expect that volatility and unpredictability to continue. So one thing you can do, of course, we can focus on cutting costs is one thing, but you've also got to look at the costs that you can't control. And to that end, we talk to businesses about managing things like really reducing the waste so that you've got control over what you're spending. Having a look at your supply chain and looking at whether or not that can become local to give you control going into the future. And our other thing that I think is important for business owners is keeping themselves aware of what's actually coming next. And that could be things like, you know, what's happening in the US election in 2024, because that's going to impact us.
Naomi, great tips, challenging times, but they bring opportunities too, don't they?
They do, and one of the best opportunities and the real pivot that we've seen in the market is that businesses have really quickly been able to adapt to a just-in-case mentality instead of the old-fashioned just-in-time when you're talking about stock ordering and suppliers and markets that they're going into. It's really impressive, it's agile, and it's making businesses successful.
Naomi, thanks for joining us. Some really great tips there to take us through into next year.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Kochie.